Testing, 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 testing. How do we sound? How do we sound, guys? How do we sound? And how are we feeling? P. Fletch, good to see you, says, Radical Coder. That's me. What's the topic, man? Well, I guess we'll get into that momentarily. But it is Sunday, December 7th at 10:53 p.m. EST. You were watching the most radical stream on the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Radical Coder, with my boy Umbreon, who is in a new, very cute blue sweater. Is it not phenomenal? Is it not perfect for him? Tell me. Is this not the sweater of his dreams? Hopefully, Jelly, who funded the sweater fund, appreciates it. Cop Watcher says, doing above average, BB. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm just sleepy. I'm very sleepy. So this will not be long. I've been all over the place the past couple of days. Radical Goater, true dat, Radical Goater. Goddard. Hurricane Pero as well. Good to see you. As for the topic, it's an interesting question. I have a couple things kind of scrambling around in my brain, but I'm not. I haven't really been able to follow the news as much the past few. I've just been running all over the place, dealing with stuff and shenanigans, and I've been a busy boy, so I haven't really kept up as much as I would like to. But I mean, if anybody has anything specific they want to go over, I'm sure we can dig into it a little bit. You think he's smirking? He might be. Hey, Panelverse. I saw you've been posting stuff. Hope you're doing well. Well, the Jags won today. I didn't see it, but I know they won. So that's hence the Jags Santa hat. It was a good Christmas present. That's always good. Panelverse says, had to point out Dusty's dono guilt-tripping method of manipulation today for taking my voice away because Grid's wording my claims wrong. Well, all right. I hope that works out for everybody involved. P. Fletch, you ever look into the fraud scandal involving Tim Walton and Ilhan Omar? I did. I didn't look into it deeply. I think I asked my ChatGPT about it, but I haven't. I don't remember exactly what the end result was. Is it actually involving them? You know, like I know you hate these people, so I take your allegations with a grain of salt. Panelverse says, I'm not a bot, I'm a real person. This is why I spelt mistakes. Perfect spelling is sus to me. That's fair. I'm also a real person, if you can believe it. One of the things I've been busy with lately is applying for, jobs for one. I'm looking for more part-time work. But I'm also applying for Upwork gigs, trying to find, I guess I'm starting to find a kind of niche that I think I work well in. And I have one project I'm working on this week that'll be very specific in that vein. And I'll probably talk more about this as I develop a good workflow for it. But basically, I mean, as you guys have seen, I've created tons of apps, vibe coding them, on stream. So obviously I can do this, but anyone can do this, right? It's not just software engineers who can vibe code the app of their dreams these days. It is in fact anyone who can do that. So there's a lot of people on freelancing websites who have vibe coded full stack applications using tools like Lovable, and they are now they've got this working prototype, and they want to find somebody like me who has a software engineering background who can take their tools and kind of put them into a more proper architecture and stress test them and find bugs and fix them and clean up the code and stuff. So I've been working on that. P. Fletch says, you really should. Billions of dollars. And yes, it involves them. Waltz went after the whistleblowers and stop trusting ChatGPT for accurate info. Well, who says I trust it? I mean, I trust it to steer me to sources. Like, I mean, where would you recommend that I get the source for what you're describing, right? Like, is it going to be like from like the Daily Caller or whatever, like one of these like weird ass tabloids? Like, I want to know that I'm getting info from like a trustworthy source. I don't like trust everything ChatGPT says, but I'm, I said Andrew is okay, this panel verse says that he said Andrew is basically a PDF file because he claims to do things while turning his back to the same actions. His thugs threatened Glenn's channel. I called it out. He did nothing while he claims he kicks anyone who harasses channels. And W. Ryan, I'm glad I'm not a tech guy. Well, I don't know anything about all that. I mean, I've always had my own personal issues with the Crucible crew, and I'll focus on those with due respect. Use your brain. My brain can't tell me about events that I haven't read about, P. Fletch. I can't interpret I can't get news from my brain. You understand that, right? That's not how it works. I don't have access to like Minnesota scandals internally. I don't have the Elon Musk Grok chip. Yeah, that feels like a stretch, like Michelle says, but like, I mean, trust me, I think there's plenty of criticisms to be thrown at the Crucible crew. Absolutely. I don't know if that's the one I would go for, the PDF stuff. I don't get that. ChatGPT searches Google, which is what Ryan would have done anyways. Yeah, exactly. And I like to be sure, like sometimes it does hallucinate stuff. But it has gotten a lot better at that, especially with news. Type of to walk away from. I mean, maybe. I don't know. P. Fletch is, okay, how do you use ChatGPT to find info? You use your brain to look it up for you to make arguments on your behalf, right? Not exactly. Here, you know what? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad that you asked because I think we can do like a little exercise here, right? This is a good, this will be, hey, Umbreon, chill. I know I put you, okay, I'll pick you back up. Okay, I'm sorry I put you down. I didn't mean to. I'll never do it again. I'll never ever put you down once ever again for the rest of your life, okay? Like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my workflow for learning about stuff, and you're going to learn alongside me. We're going to learn together. Learning is in fact radical. So watch. I have some vague information that I've been provided from P. Fletch, right? So I want to know, hey, one of my viewers mentioned a scandal involving Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar. Tell me about this scandal. And this will be how I get surface level information. And if something here is wrong, then we can dig into it. Or if something like if we get some information that's incorrect, then we can dig into it. Like, it's always, if there's something here that doesn't align with your understanding of the issue, then we can dive into that specific claim, right? We can figure out what the discrepancies are, and then we can learn together. Again, learning is radical, and we can do it together as a team. Me and you, P. Fletch, right and left, locking our arms together and learning about something in real time, in front of the world, in front of 10 million viewers right now. You're the monkey wrench of the universe? I don't know what that means. Michelle says, I love how it's called hallucinating. Yeah, it's an interesting phrasing. I mean, some people reject that word for what ChatGPT does because it kind of personifies it. when really what it's doing is just like, I don't know. I think it is a good word for it. I don't know what a better. It is personifying, but oh yeah, is that so? It tries to downplay the stuff happening in Minnesota. Well, again, like if there are discrepancies, P-Fletch, we can dig into them together. Like it's possible. Hang on, just imagine. It's possible that you are upplaying what's happening in Minnesota, right? I don't know. It hasn't even finished loading yet. You're already telling me that it's downplaying it. Yeah, like Michelle says, if the stuff happening in Minnesota is blown up, like what I suspect, frankly, then it would, the truth would seem like downplaying it. Okay. Your viewer is almost certainly talking about the Minnesota Somali fraud story, a set of big welfare COVID relief fraud cases, and the way right-wing media and Trump are now tying Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar to them via photos, donations, and they looked the other way narratives. There is no evidence right now that Walz or Omar personally ran or benefited from the fraud. So P-Fletch wants us to believe that Tim Walz and Omar did know. And he's going to give us evidence for that, I assure you all, right? Is P-Fletch going to tell us where we can find the evidence that Walz or Omar personally ran or benefited from the fraud? But they are being hit for oversight failures, bad optics, and proximity to some of the people involved. So yeah, I want to find out. Told you it would downplay it. Where's the downplaying yet? I feel like there's been no downplaying unless you know that there is evidence. And that to be clear, that would not mean it would not be downplaying it. If you're suggesting that this is the wrong part, right? The evidence thing. If this isn't downplaying, this is asserting. This is an assertion. This is a falsifiable claim. So if you have evidence that they either ran or benefited from the fraud, then this would be incorrect, which is possible. I'm just skeptical that you have that evidence, but I want you to find out. Radical Coder used their own. Hi, Mohammed. P-Fletch says Radical Coder used their own actions and words. Look up the whistleblowers that were shit canned by Walz. Well, let's see if this mentions them. Okay, I'll ask about that next. So there was the Feeding Our Future COVID meal fraud. So here's what happened, okay? This is what P-Fletch is talking about, guys. A nonprofit called Feeding Our Future and associated businesses were charged with stealing roughly $250 million from a federal child nutrition program during COVID. That's bad. That's a bad thing. That's pretty bad. I don't like that. I don't like stealing food from children, all right? They did this by billing the state for meals that didn't exist, okay? So they were billing for meals and taking the money, right? Instead of spending the money on meals, they were, or presumably, instead of, instead of spending money on these meals, they were overcharging, like for inflating the number of meals, presumably. Federal prosecutors call it the largest pandemic relief fraud scheme in the country. So does this sound, okay, I just want you guys pause for a second. P-Fletch claims ChatGPT is downplaying it. Does federal prosecutors call it the largest pandemic relief fraud scheme in the country? Does that sound like downplaying? Does that sound like downplaying to anybody? That doesn't sound like downplaying. That sounds like it's acknowledging like a pretty big scandal, right? It sounds like it's a big deal. Dozens of people, many but not all Somali, have been indicted and multiple defendants have already been convicted or pled guilty. Okay, so we've already got cases ongoing. People are pleading guilty. People are being convicted. I need you to go play on, Brian. I can't handle you right now. So the cases are going through, and for some reason, throughout these court cases, Tim Walz and Omar have not been struck with damning evidence, at least from what I've read so far. So a broader wave of welfare Medicaid fraud. So separate from Feeding Our Future, federal and state investigators now say Minnesota is seeing one of the largest welfare fraud waves in U.S. history, involving things like housing assistance and autism therapy programs. Some of this is alleged to involve Somali-run organizations. Okay, so there's other stuff going on, and it may be Somali-run or people who are from Somalia who are running these organizations. Okay. Conservative outlets and some officials are claiming the total might exceed $1 billion in stolen funds. And some reporting letters from Republicans talk about the possibility that a slice of that money ended up routed to al-Shabaab in Somalia via informal money transfer networks. That's under federal investigation right now. So that's something that is being investigated currently. Okay, so I guess we'll find out. I mean, again, I think this is bad. This is all bad. Like the people who are involved in this should be charged, investigated, and charged. Like people who are stealing money from, again, basically stealing money from children by lying about meals that were supposed to go to kids and instead spending them on apparently potentially in this paragraph potentially to al-Shabaab in Somalia. As of today, those terrorism funding claims are allegations, not proven in court. No public terrorism financing charges have been filed yet. Okay, so that's the al-Shabaab stuff. The charges we do see are fraud/wire fraud style charges. On top of that, Trump is using these cases to go after the entire Somali community in Minnesota, calling Somalis garbage and blaming them for billions in fraud while threatening to end their temporary protected status and cut off immigration. See, this sounds like some trumped up shit. Neva Under Pressure says, how come we haven't heard about the case involving Brent Favre in Mississippi? That is interesting. I feel like I heard something about that recently, but I don't know much about it. So this is Trump using this to blame all Somalis in Minnesota, rather than the specific people who are part of this, who are being charged. Yeah, you got the zoomies. Whoa, he's fast. You guys hear that fast dog? Blaming them for billions in fraud, while realistically it looks like it's about 1 billion. Which is still, I mean, that's a lot of money. Like, I'm not trying to downplay that. But it's not billions, like Trump's saying, right? It's 1 billion. While threatening to end their temporary protected status and cut off immigration. Yeah, this seems ridiculous. Like cutting off temporary protected status for all Somalis because of something that some specific Somalis are doing. Cutting off immigration for all Somalis because of some things that specific Somalis are doing. This is called collective punishment, my dudes. And it's not how we do shit here in the US of A. All right? Or it can be, but we don't like it when we do it. We usually look back on it with shame. We're ashamed of it when we look back on stuff like this. Or that kind of collective punishment. Joe Cool says, read my mind. Favre stole money from the poor. Over $77 million. Damn. 0.077 billion. Again, also bad. P. Fletch says it's in the 80 plus percentile for fraud from that single ethnic group. I mean, okay. Like, you realize that even if that's true, that's not justification for collective punishment, right? Because the Somalia fraud case is in the 80 plus percentile, so the majority of that ethnic group. That's not what 80th plus percentile means. Wait. When you say 80th plus percentile, you're talking about ranking ethnic groups by, like, percentile is compared to other, it would be compared to other groups, right? Like 80th plus percentile. Not that percentile wouldn't mean that 80% of Somalians are involved in fraud. You understand that, right? Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, but based on the words you're using, it sounds like you're implying that over 80% of Somalis are involved in fraud, but that's not what it sounds like you're actually referencing. It sounds like you're referencing them being compared to other ethnic groups being in a higher percentile, as in likelihood to be involved in fraud, which again does not justify collective punishment. I mean, even if it was 80%, then that other 20% who are not involved in fraud, which I mean, this is I don't believe this is the reality. But even if it was, that other 20% that's not involved would therefore not be appropriate to punish, right? P. Fletch says, Radical Coder, I'm talking about the amount of people committing the crimes, and that's not digging into the other stuff that has been happening, violent attacks, child brides. So you're saying the amount of people, okay, let's see. You're saying that 80% of the people involved in this are Somalis. So the majority of people involved in this case are from that ethnic group, is what you're saying. It's a very different kind of claim. And that's already something I accepted, like from the go. So let's see how Ilhan Omar is tied to it. For Omar, the story is about proximity, donations, and political framing, not charges. So no charges. So no charges yet. Okay, maybe there will be charges. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Please do not entertain that idiot. You talking about P. Fletch? I mean, I'm learning about this case. Like, I'm using his positions to just learn about this case. Like, I don't know. Like, he's talking about violent attacks, child brides, etc. It sounds like he is specifically focused on Somali's bad, right? I'm just trying to learn about this specific fraud case. I don't. P. Fletch still believes in the fake news about Ilhan Omar marrying her brother. Hey, P. Fletch, have you ever seen any evidence that happened? Even just like one thing, one reliable source or something confirming this? Do you have any evidence at all? I'm curious. Because I think I've mentioned before, specifically to you, that my understanding is that rumor comes explicitly from like an old Facebook post or something where somebody alleged that. Like it's literally just like a meme that like right-wingers have completely internalized. And I don't know why you fucking people do this. It drives me fucking crazy. The paperwork being printed out. Wait, the paperwork that she got married or the paperwork that she married her brother? Because I agree that she was married. I don't agree that I don't believe that the person she married was her brother. Anyway, let's read more about Ilhan Omar's alleged involvement in this case, right? She represents a Minneapolis district with a large Somali community. So far, so true. So a lot of the people and organizations involved in these schemes are technically in her backyard, okay? That does not mean, right, that she's responsible for their misdeeds. The paperwork that she married her brother to get into the country. What paperwork? Where can I find this paperwork? Reporting, especially from right-leaning outlets, says that some people later charged in the Feeding Our Future scheme donated to Minnesota Democrats, including Omar, to the tune of a few $1,000s. One piece says she received roughly $7,400 from donors now implicated, and that some of these donations were refunded after the scandal came to light. Okay, so come on. Okay, 7,000. We're talking about $1 billion, bro. We're talking about $1 billion scandal, and you're telling me that Ilhan Omar got like $7,000 from various donors that are now implicated? You realize that like organizations donate money to political campaigns to the tune of a lot more, usually, than a few $1,000s overall. Josh says, oh, you know the paper, the one where she declares, this is my brother, in plain English. Yeah. Another report frames it as Omar allies tied to massive Minnesota COVID meal fraud. So Omar allies, right? So people who donated to her campaign are implicated in this. And that word implicated, that doesn't mean charged and convicted. So this number, I suspect that if we adjusted this number to just people who have been like charged and convicted, specifically convicted, I bet that number goes way down. Mostly meaning people in her political orbit or community organizations benefiting from the scheme, not that she personally took fraudulent money. Oh, well, that's super interesting. Wouldn't she want that fraudulent money if she was involved in this? Wouldn't there be evidence that she took that fraudulent money if she was involved in this? Wouldn't there be something, anything, fucking anything? She's also being hit for supposedly being silent or soft about the fraud. A New York Post column, for instance, asks, what did Ilhan Omar know about the $1 billion welfare fraud case? And criticizes her initial public response. Okay, let's look at that. What was her initial public response? Oh my God, I hate them. The Post. So this is right. New York Post. They're so annoying. Omar even introduced the bill that led to 250. So she introduced the bill that would allow these food programs that people took advantage of. She claims to have been I guarantee what the sentence means. She claims to have been completely unaware of the fraud. I guarantee that's what it means. There's no way that she's saying, I've never heard of Feeding Our Future or whatever program was funding them. Omar knew who these people were. Some of them, that seems to be true. People she knew personally were making tens of millions of dollars in this program. That could be true. That could be true. I don't know. I don't know that to be the case. But that could be true. And it wouldn't really change anything here. Minnesotans claim Omar should have known about the fraud sweeping her Somali community. Either she's terminally naive or knew and didn't care. Or maybe people just were not telling her about it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's possible she knew, but we need evidence to make claims like that, right, guys? Right, guys? This is America, so we do this thing called innocent until proven guilty. At least we're supposed to. Oh, Umbreon, no. Oh, he just ripped apart my girlfriend's cat's mouse and is chowing down on the catnip. You're an embarrassment. Ew. This is what he's chewing on right now. No. Shame on you. Oh, you were so annoying. Almost as annoying as P. Fletch coming in here with some bullshit. Keep being a willfully blind leftist later and check your DMs. Okay, I'm pulling up my DMs. London Daily. Okay. Did Ilhan Omar really marry her brother? DNA quote-unquote proof lifts the lid on alleged immigration scam. A group linked to the Republican Party has released a report seemingly indicating that Representative Ilhan Omar married her own brother to get around U.S. immigration laws. This is the London Daily. The London Daily. The report does not identify either Omar or her former husband. Wait, so this... The report indicates there's a 99.99... Okay, so this is the first paragraph, okay? It's saying that there's this report of two people getting married, labeled sibling 1 and sibling 2, and they believe that it's Omar and her alleged brother. So again, we don't actually have any proof. Thanks, P. Fletch. Thank you for that. Thank you for putting us exactly where we were. At the same time, more mainstream coverage points out Omar has publicly condemned the fraud and said she backed investigations early on. Oh, wow. So she backed investigations into her friends? And she's explicitly pushed back on the terrorism funding narrative, arguing that if there were real evidence of money going to Al-Shabaab, DOJ would be charging that specifically. Okay, so when they say she's downplaying, this is probably what they're talking about, saying that there's likely not evidence of this because the DOJ would be charging for that. So Omar's scandal in the narrative is fraudsters from her broader community donated money and had political connections, and her enemies are trying to spin that into she knew or she's complicit, even though there's no evidence that she participated in or directed the fraud. Wow. So basically nothing. So thank you, P. Fletch, for sending us down a rabbit hole where we learned nothing. Well, that's not true. We didn't learn nothing. We learned lots of stuff, right? But what we didn't learn is that Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz are responsible for anything involving in anything about this at all. I don't want a quick framing. It actually does this regularly where it suggests like exact words for me to read, and I don't ever read them, just for the record, guys. Just so you know. No charges. This is the thing. No charges against Walz or if they listen here. I don't think P. Fletch is still here, right? Because he said it later. But like, if Walz or Omar are actually involved in this, charge them. Charge them. Go after them. They'll do an investigation. They'll find out how the degree of involvement. And we'll go from there. But that's not happening, right? They are not being charged because there's no evidence that they were involved. So, I don't know what to tell y'all. But that's how we use ChatGPT to find info, okay? Learning is radical. And P. Fletch, you're kind of a dork, but I appreciate you. It's always some BS like that, yeah. Josh says, are we punishing people now for not knowing about fraud under you and close allies being implicated because Trump is implicated in quite a bit more? Yeah, for real. For real. I'm a willfully blind leftist. Do you guys, I mean, look, this isn't going to be a long stream, okay? I'm not going all night or anything here. So, this VOD should be easy for people to skim through and review. If anybody at all feels like I'm being a willfully blind leftist, like P. Fletch suggests here, I encourage you to please drop in the comments some more information that I can dig into, or point out timestamps where I'm being willfully blind, where I'm not taking in information, where I'm rejecting information that otherwise is damning, or tell me. I don't listen. I like Ilhan Omar. But if she's involved in fraud, then fuck it. Charge her for it. Don't do fraud. Same with Tim Walz. But as we're seeing, it doesn't seem like there's any evidence for it. So, what am I supposed to do? Ilhan Omar should have used her broad sweeping pardon powders to pardon her Somali friends. Oh, wait. Yeah. And in reality, this is the worst part, really, the most frustrating part, as Josh is pointing out. The most frustrating thing is that we have actual fraud, actual stuff that is also, I mean, this is actual fraud. Excuse me. I don't mean to say this isn't. Fraud that, Trump is way closer to people on. People who are convicted of crimes that Trump pardons. And no one cares. Or at least Republicans don't care. It's so frustrating, guys. What am I supposed to do? What do I do? What else is going on? I seriously am really tired. I don't think I'm going to go much longer. But I wanted to keep my streak, so as a reminder, I promised in a community post, which you should go look at and go give a like. Which you should. Oh, by the way, you should like this stream also. To be clear, you should give the stream a like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Oh, I think Umbreon just pooped. I smell it. You stinky boy. Gift a membership if you can. Get a membership if you can. Super chats, we love those. Even super thanks if you're watching this in the future. Really appreciate all that sort of stuff, all those things. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, I just realized I'm not online on Discord. Bro, P-Fletch sent me a YouTube video from a channel called Liberal Hive Mind. I'm supposed to get damning, compelling information from Liberal Hive Mind? Come on, man. Who's the willfully blind one, really? Who is the willfully blind one? Is it the person digging into news? Or the person getting their news from a YouTube channel called Liberal Hive Mind? Something to think about. Trump just pardoned someone like 10 days into their 7-year sentence for scamming veterans and shit. Yeah, that's true. Also pardoned, over 1,000 violent, well, I don't know if they, all 1,000 were violent, but pardoned 1,200 insurrectionists. People who literally tried to overturn an election that he lost, and he still doesn't acknowledge he lost. Yeah, it is always projection. He just pardoned the former president of Honduras who trafficked insane amounts of drugs and had some guy chopped up with a machete or something crazy. But, who cares about that? Again, I'm really sleepy. So, I made a promise to stream every day this month. So far, I have, except for technically Friday. I didn't stream on my own channel, but I did go live. I did join a Jackbox game night. I've been playing a lot of Jackbox recently. I might even do my own Jackbox game night. That could be kind of fun. I'm kind of fucking with Jackbox. Kind of enjoying it a lot. Oh, did he pardon the pipe bomber? I just saw that the pipe bomber was MAGA. Did he pardon him? Assuming it applied, or are you saying you're assuming that the January 6th pardons apply to that? I don't think that would happen. It wouldn't work that way. It would have to be a new pardon, right? So I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm also trying to work on other things. Like I said, I've been on Upwork. Yeah, but Ray Epps. But Ray Epps. What about Ray Epps, guys? What was Ray Epps doing there? What was Ray Epps They let him in. Ashley Babbitt died. Man. Well, I don't know anything about the electors. I just never. I don't really know much about the elector plot, or you say the Oath Keepers had a stockpile of weapons, a quick reaction force of, just an insane stockpile of weapons just across the river that they planned on bringing. I don't know anything about all that. Enrique Tarrio wasn't even there, guys. Enrique Tarrio wasn't even there. It's exhausting, man. It's exhausting. But I've been working on Upwork, applying for gigs, and I just want you all to think about this. If you have the idea of your dreams, you want to vibe code your dream app into existence, and then you realize when you're done that you don't have a software engineer who can kind of go back through your application and make sure that it works in a, from a non-AI vibe coded perspective. That's the kind of shit I'm doing now. Trying to do more of that. There's a lot of apps being made by a lot of people who don't have software backgrounds, and they want people with software backgrounds to work on those apps, clean them up, debug, fix things, add new features, etc. And I am loving it. I want to do way more of that. I have an interview tomorrow for a position where I'll be training a team of vibe coders who don't have software backgrounds necessarily on how to think about the stuff they're doing more from a software engineering background. So I'm actually really excited about that one. I hope it happens. I hope I get that. That'd be really cool to be a part of as an educator. Trump making pardons look bad real quick. Perhaps pardons shouldn't exist, or at least have a few more strings attached. I think there's something to that, Cop Watcher. I think there is indeed something to that. I know Pisco. Pisco always says that like it was super corrupt for Biden to pardon his family or whatever. I don't feel as negatively towards the Hunter Biden pardon. I mean, just given the actions of the incoming administration, it seems like something worth doing, even if it looks bad. Michelle, Cop Watcher says, "Pardoner in chief." True. Michelle says they say they don't care about feelings, so that when they do get hurt, they can be like, "Hey, let's be real," and it all seems so serious. Yeah. Grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted. Oh, I see. Convicted of offenses related to events that occurred, at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th. Oh, then that mass pardon, I guess, would potentially apply to the MAGA pipe bomber. That's crazy. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, learning is radical, right, guys? Learning is radical. What you chewing on, buddy? It's like, yeah, it was really hot when the fire was getting out of hand, but now it's even bigger. Yeah, Trump is doing worse. Yeah, exactly. Crazy times. I do want to apologize for being a little bit AFK for the past few days. It's been a lot going on in the real world. I've been all over the place with family and friends, but throughout this week, I should have more time to spend just streaming and memeing and dreaming. So you can all support the stream, support the dream, support the ween. If you cannot support with your funds, please support with your thumbs. Like the stream. Love the stream. He commuted like 10 names directly and broadly everyone else. Okay. So yeah, apparently Enrique Tarrio did get a pardon, but the Oath Keepers leader got commuted, right? Learning shouldn't be radical, says Cop Watcher. However, it seems increasingly rare nowadays. I think that's a fair assessment. Although I would say learning is always radical. Just because, like it's just cool to learn. It's cool to learn things and to unlearn things. When you've convinced yourself of something and then you realize the evidence doesn't align with your interpretation of that thing, I think it's really good to figure that out. It's radical. It's cool. It's dope. It's sick as fuck, dog. All right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I can't do much more. So I'm going to find someone to raid out to. But I appreciate you all hanging out briefly. Yeah, we'll do way more this week. I apologize that we haven't been online so much, but I am glad that I've been consistently going live. It feels good. I appreciate, people who responded positively to my suggestion to stream every day. And also my girlfriend who is pushing me to make sure that I keep doing it as well. I appreciate that. But I need to rest. So let's see. Josh says, hit the hay. Nice short stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. Umbreon, I'll help you out in a second, buddy. I know you probably rolled your ball into a place where it's difficult to get to, and I'll help you get it back, okay? I will save you, sweet boy. Looks like Sarah's doing a Sleepy Tomato stream. Maybe I'll send you guys there. Actually, with this, I don't think I have any of Tom Foolery's enemies in my chat right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and raid you guys out to Tom. Okay, give Tom some love. Tell him learning is radical. If you hate Tom, which I know some people do for reasons that are justified and unjustified, then just don't say anything. But if you don't, then tell him learning is radical. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you again. I'll see you tomorrow.